Hello, beautiful, amazing, fantastic world, and you, wonderful, amazing, beautiful individual. Today, I would like to speak about a whole world and eventually a whole cosmos awaits you when you strive to understand yourself inwardly and the world inwardly. For the more we deepen ourselves, the more we go inwards into, the higher worlds and, also overcoming the lower astral worlds, the temptations, and so on, the more we master our own self over time, the, the more it becomes like a temple, Your inner being becomes more and more important to hold clear and in human decency, filling oneself with hopeful, loving, nurturing inner, life in general. Of course, this is something I have mentioned many times. We maintain and sustain and actively strive and choose. For if we put our guards down, in a sense, the backward spirits often can get a hold of our fears and insecurities and such. But by us having a stable foundation within our own inner being, we can allow or deny entrance of certain beings. Of course, we stand strong in, love and compassion, that you do not let them in out of love and not out of hatred. It is for one's health, after all. So looking to life with everything in health, in spiritual soul health, of course. That means behaviors, interests, where we focus our attention, our faculties for paying attention and listening, observing, and so on. These are faculties that can be strengthened. For if we do not strengthen our ability for paying attention and holding a certain disciplined focus, we will just be dragged everywhere and anywhere and be distracted by everything. And because of it, we are wasting a lot of our life force. But by striving inwards and allowing oneself to deepen and to broaden oneself too, for it is a pretty huge cosmos inwardly, if you know what I mean. It is a pretty huge thing with a lot of pieces to fill in and to get to know and become acquainted with. And of course, by relating the inner cosmic world to the outer physical sense perceptible world, you do not lose yourself. You do not lose yourself in fantastical notions or concepts, but you actually connect what you can see with what you can feel and have a clairvoyant gaze upon. For if we go into abstract notions and fantastical pictures and imaginations, we do not have any ground to stand on. We do not have any specific developmental stream. But by holding oneself under the Christ in the compassion and also in the trust that they do, give us the proper nourishment for our soul and spirit experiences and everything in between to be able to strengthen us. For they wish us to develop. They are welcoming us into their realm. But we need to have a certain decency when we go in there. For if we go inward with full of chaos and turbulence, it is very difficult to sit there. To sit in there would be like sitting in a storm. Of course, that is often what we will have to do, for calming and clearing one's own inner being requires one to, what should we call it, throw oneself into the flame. It won't hurt you in the end. It just will be very uncomfortable and spirit emotionally painful. But it is not something that will kill you. It is not something that will damage you. For, tempering our own inner being is our own responsibility. It is our being, after all, and to hold it clean and clear and proper as best as we can. And, well, as I have found out for myself, at least, just to use me as an example, I don't like to do that often, but by doing what I do every day, coming back to this stream and to speak about it, communicate about it with my language and speech, I maneuver within this spiritual sphere too. For when I speak about something, I look for pictures and I look for inspiration to speak about, in a sense, and hold myself to a certain frame of topics so that I do not go astray. And to hold oneself sturdy and strong within this world and be conscious and clear within it is a practice, and you become better at it over time. And the higher worlds are constantly assisting us in this endeavor, since they are part of this spiritual world we have been disconnected from for, well, more than 500 years now. We kind of lost their connection consciously in the 500s, in the 1450s something, and after that it has been more and more materialistic and sense perceptible mythologies concerning what we perceive in the world. In the future we will look back at this time and think at this funny temporary stage of human development where we thought that there was only physicality, there was only the physical. But we will awaken again to clairvoyance and come into the spiritual forces that are building up this reality, the reflection of, or the true architects, more or less, of this physical reality. For nothing can truly move without a will. Nothing. And, well, having a certain love for everything pervades this whole reality with warmth. And so we need more to sustain this warmth, light and love and compassion. But compassion deepened and enlightened by knowledge. For faith, love, hope becomes stronger and deeper the more we study spiritual science, the more we study the higher worlds. And you come more and more into, I personally have an immense interest in the higher hierarchy and the Christ, and, well, I think that is a good, that is a healthy interest, to say the least. For it allows me to hold my attention and focus towards specific goals and aspirations in life. For we do aspire towards something that goes beyond this incarnation alone. We work and strive towards further into the future from here and now. For as I have probably written it in a description in one of my videos, but the future, based on what we do now, is formable, mutable, changeable. So, if we suddenly change direction now, the future changes. And that is obvious because we go into a new stream, new results will occur by cultivating in different areas, in a sense. Of course, by having a certain contact and connection to your higher genius, to your angel, to your future self. You are much more in alignment with the future, and hence you are guided and given the specific insights and knowledge to be able to reach that future. And have a little trust in the higher worlds, for they have a much higher vantage point than we do. For they are our higher siblings, and they are benevolent, loving, moral spirits. They are macrocosmic spirits, and they live by God's will. Every single one of them live in God, more or less. Only we as human beings, more or less, are free to choose or to stray away, to choose to follow or stray away from the divine. The higher hierarchy are part of God's being, in a sense, so they cannot stray from it. You do have backward spirits. You do have the Luciferic and Ahrimanic and Azuric spirits down here on Earth, but they are not macrocosmic, they are microcosmic. They are part of our development and our temptation, specifically. And they are created for us to strengthen good and to develop a certain inner foundation for morals and, well, both moral and aesthetic beauty. That means we see a moral action as beautiful and an immoral action as ugly, in a sense. And of course, there is more to this practice than just seeing that. It also needs to be held as a reality and also not judged, in a sense, for we need to know why they are here and what we are redeeming and overcoming through our own inner powers, and with, of course, help from the assistance of the higher worlds, for we won't be able to make it without them. They are assisting us and giving us the seeds for future spiritual organs for perception that we do not have yet, but they do. So they imprint that on us through assistance, and we need to, of course, hold a certain prayer and open heart for them, and they will help us with this. For it requires patience, of course, for they do not take shortcuts. This is a patience, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. Time is irrelevant. It is utterly irrelevant here. This is the truth. For what is relevant is what you do now, in the present moment. Every single second and moment, really. Of course, one does not become pedantic or dilettantish, obviously not. It is about a certain relaxed and open, clear, stable, disciplined, balanced, but not strained. It is an effort, but it is not forcing. It is a perfect balance in the middle there. The balance always shows up to me. The threefold balance of the human being. It is kind of amazing. For we need to have the threefoldness, the three, not two, to hold us in balance. For if we only have two, it's either or. With three, it is a balance. Like a scale that has a fulcrum, and this fulcrum holds these two arms in balance, and we are the fulcrum. We are the Christ is the fulcrum, and from this center you connect to the higher worlds. If we go too much to the sides of any of these, we won't find the hierarchy. We only find microcosmic beings, elemental beings, and Luciferic and Ahrimanic beings. But if we connect to love, true, divine, objective love, that means being able to, if we choose to understand any human being on this planet, any individual, if we truly go in for understanding them. It is about being able to maneuver in all types of life and developmental stages and being creative about it at the same time. Bringing life and bringing insight and consciousness to the forces playing in the background, and not only perceiving it through the effects. Of course, after a certain while, you live by the higher world's revelations alone, and not needing to constantly see them, but you feel that they are speaking through you, inspiring you through your emotions, affecting and inspiring your thoughts in good ways, of course. And this is, if you allow, it is a certain allowing in. This is a trust between the higher worlds and you and me. When I say you and me, I mean the higher worlds and us as human beings. It is a trust we hold, a connection of trust to know that it is not possible for us to be taken over by an unknown spirit, in a sense. You need to allow in these, well, malevolent beings, and they can only come in if we have a certain amount of malevolence within ourselves. It is about always clearing and overcoming that karma, until these forces are very prominent. you feel when they are affecting you. That means when you feel annoyance or anger, when you feel a certain amount of fear and frustration, nervousness, all of these things, they are backward beings that constantly place within our feelings and thoughts and will impulses. But if we hold ourselves every day strong and sturdy to a practice and balance, these beings become very prominently visible to us in a sense. And by holding and deepening one's own inner being, there is no, you are not outside of your being anymore, so other beings can play and have fun within your being anymore. You are within your own being, and it is you that bring out the activity in a sense. So stay strong, keep on going, and keep mastering yourself for good of all of mankind. And well, I pray for your benevolent endeavors and success. And I pray that you are safe and sound. And may you be protected, guided, blessed, and loved by Father, Holy Spirit, Christ, my God, ancient masters of all, ancestors from every incarnation. And may you be provided for with all that you need to survive, live, thrive, and being creative and inspirational and healing to the world, so others can choose to follow when their time is right. And may you be a warm, compassionate, understanding human being moving forward, and may you strengthen your own inner ability for, well, everything needed for life, more or less. Both life, healing, and warmth, soul warmth. You know, feeling that you are home in a sense within your own self. And it requires patience and dedication. And thank you so much. See you. Love you. Goodbye.